My name is Abdisharem Saeed, your host for today, as we'll be tackling the topic youth and leadership. We have with us our guests here, and we'll be starting with the introduction from the far right. And please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lahmady Said Muhammad. I'm a chemical and process engineer by profession. I'm also an energy policy advisor and a mentor in Future Pillars organization here in Mombasa.
My name is Mohammed Zubair Ahmed, mostly known as Bilal Jokhia. My background is in marine supply chain mainly. I sit in the board of Future Pillars, and once I tried to dare deep in the territory of the bull sharks, and I tried to vie as a speaker of Mombasa Assembly. Thank you.
My name is Haytham Isse. I am a youth advocate and executive director at Future Pillars organization, and also part of the mentorship team at the organization.
Thank you very much. And let's move on a bit into the discussion for today, which is youth and leadership. As you may all know, that major percentage of Kenya is actually youth. So we'll be tackling the topic of youth and leadership today. So let's dig into it, the matter of youth and leadership. What do you think about it? And we'll start with Lahmady.
Honestly speaking, youth is an integral part of the community and the population of the country, and specifically here in Mombasa. So, with regards to their participation, their representation, and their involvement in leadership is very crucial. Their absence in leadership is going to actually lead to a detrimental effect, especially in the future of this country, or actually the county itself. Therefore, their involvement, their participation, their representation, both in the local government and the national government, is quite paramount. And their involvement should actually be in diverse areas, be it in the leadership itself in the executive. It can be actually in the National Assembly or the local, the, the assembly of the members of area MCAs, and also actually even in the ward administration and even in the what do you call the sub-county level. That's what we were trying to say. Why do we need, for example, youth in these kind or these levels of leadership? Their ideas, their ideologies, especially in this era of technology and innovation, they come up actually with very fresh ideas that they were actually absent 50 or 100 years back. Their involvement, their perspective is quite actually fresh. Therefore, when they introduce or they advance their ideologies and bring them to reality, some kind of leadership actually are being phased out. And with that regard, phasing out of old style of leadership will lead to specifically a certain region. For example, our Mombasa, it will become an urban city that will be recognized internationally. If we are trying to attain a smart city, you cannot attain a smart city with an old mind. You cannot teach old dogs new ideas. Therefore, you need fresh tax. Therefore, in that case, you need fresh minds, and these fresh minds are coming from the youth. And here in Kenya, right now, luckily, majority are actually literate. But are the majority part of the leadership? No, unfortunately. How can we improve this percentage into leadership? Therefore, we are going to look into these matters. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And one other question that I'd like to ask on that. You said if we want to bring change, then it's better to have youth as leaders. And one thing that I can say is basically we live in a world where the society perceives that the elderly are of more better when it comes to leading the country. So what can we say? What can we do as a country to make sure that the youth are the ones that are put in place in terms of the society perspective of it? I'll get back to you in a minute. And this question goes to Haytham.
And one thing I believe about the youth, as you have said, and this can be tackled because it doesn't matter. This is it's a bias against the youth, because as long as the youth is good enough to lead, he's old enough. Because one thing that they say It is not the size of the dog in the fight. It is the size of the fight in the dog, in the fight.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what it means is they are leaders in the community. Forget even the political landscape. Let us just talk about the community landscape. We have leaders who have to be mentored. These people have the ability, but one thing that they face is the bias. Because we have seen in this country where the youths come out to take leadership role, but you find that through different scenarios, the political party, the system is in place, you find that the youth are disregarded. And what we just want to wish is we just want to change this narrative. Because now this is the time we have come. We want to transform our community fast, and we should give an opportunity to the youths of Mombasa. Because I believe we have what it takes to bring a change. Because this is our time.
And Bilal?
Before you, okay. The funny thing about our conversation today is that we make 75% of the population of Kenya. But our representation in the parliament, of any parliament, is 14%. You get the point?
Yeah, yeah.
Now 14%, these are people under 40. Where are the rest? Are we going to talk about young at heart, or the youth at heart, or the youth, the number it has been specified? So let's say the number is 15 to 35, right, to be a youth.
Yeah.
Let's put it to 40. Are we not matured enough to hold positions on that, on this kind of dockets? This government has played a good role. I have seen that we have directors that have been chosen for particular positions. They are directors, they are even senators. But is that enough? You get?
Yeah.
And to answer this, our society has that stereotype that youths cannot lead us. You get? Because number one, they don't have proper knowledge. Number two, capacity. You see? Number three, they are not focused. They can easily be persuaded. You see? So now these are the kind of conversations that I think we have to forge going forward to make this society of ours and Kenyan people at large to understand that youth are capable once they are equipped, once fostering cooperation is made, and at least you cannot just come up with a notion that we cannot lead. Are we given that chance?
On that point, you said 75% of youth, 75% of the population in
Yes.
Kenya is made out of youth.
Yes.
Youth, basically.
Yes.
So let me ask you this question. The policies that are in place in supporting youth in Kenya, are you saying that it's not okay in terms of the sector of policies that have been put in place by the government?
I think if you ask me, if we are to take what do we call a survey and ask people, or the youth of Mombasa, most of them, they'll tell you that they don't even understand if we have policies. You see, these are only those few people who are aware of the policy. And some, I am very sorry to say, but those who are aware, most of them who bootlick, certain authorities.
Yeah,
You get the point?
Yeah, I get the point. Yeah.
Lakini, if truly we want them to involve, you involve the whole people, then civic education is very important for us to understand. You know, even those youth, manake, let me tell you something. Out there, people hawana imani, brother. Na hata inshallah you make any 100 governments and you bring a lot of promises. People out there wamekata tamaa. Now, youths like this from the hoods, that we need to make them aware and get them participate in this kind of activities. You get? what are we going to do? Now, I think our conversation should be even centered. So those who are not aware, those who don't understand even, those who even are far away from the conversation that we are having today, what will we do so that we can involve them? And now our stake should be big. Instead us following politicians, instead us following some investors to invest in us, they should come to us without even we asking for their support. You get?
So, for that, and this question goes to Lahmady, please. There's this system that people perceive that before putting, like as Bilal has mentioned, we need leaders who are youth. And the question goes back to when the elections happen, when the elections are happening. So, what can we say so that we can put leaders in place? What do you have for the youth? As 75% of the population is made out of youth.
All right. With that regard, actually, to nurture leaders, especially the youth, it requires quite a lot of resources, financial resources, manpower,
Yeah.
and even the policies that are supposed to be put in place by the leadership, which is actually current right now. They need to mold leaders from the youth. They need to actually give that kind of relay, a stick to be given to the young leaders. But this kind of system or mechanism is actually not in place. The only thing that is in place is if I am totally affiliated to Bilal and I'm actually the leader right now, I will look upon who is actually very close to me in terms of loyalty. But I have already closed doors to people who are actually maybe better than Bilal with regards to the integrity, authenticity, courageous in terms of their visionary minds. All right. So we think that the leadership right now, they have the governors, I think leadership mentorship program. That is one, but there are others which are actually in place. One thing that Bilal has mentioned here is that unfortunately the majority of the youth or the public are unaware of the opportunities that are actually present. For example, I'll give you the Middle and Small Enterprises Authority. They're actually on their 8th cycle right now, and they're targeting about 7,500 youths to actually benefit in billions of money with regards to business development trainings, with regards to leadership skills trainings, and all this. If you can see their statistics, is that we have thousands of youth, for example, taking specifically Mombasa, who have actually not benefited. And one of the reasons is the access to these kind of programs. So another one is actually USAID, who are actually, they also have this kind of mentorship programs. But when you actually look carefully and scrutinize and analyze the statistics of those who have actually been registered in that mentorship program, you will find out that some people have been marginalized. And you start asking yourself, where are the Mombasa youth, for example, going to take these positions? So one of them is the lack of awareness. And secondly is not given opportunities with regard to different challenges that we are facing. And unfortunately, in that kind of direction is that many youth who are actually capable, they miss these golden opportunities to lead, unfortunately. And you find out after an election, those who are actually anticipated to lead and become very visionary and very vocal in the government, they're actually not given those opportunities. And you start asking, why is this happening? It's because the system has already been set up like that. To break this kind of biasness, one of the forums are these ones, to create awareness into the youth, to let them understand. Another point was made here, the civic education. Majority of our fellow youth, they're actually not aware of some of the roles of these leaders. So there is no way you can actually groom that person until he understands his responsibility as a youth in the community. To bring that or to close that gap, first of all, we need to create a program or ways into civic education and all that. Luckily, our area MP here, Honorable Mohammed Sood Machele, he has actually come up with a mentorship program that is going to be enrolled very soon. And there's another one, but actually for the governor is actually targeting the high schools. But civic education, before during my age, civic education in GHC was actually very rampant. But right now, when you ask the current kids who are actually learning, they actually lack this kind of knowledge. They don't understand. So from all levels, civic education is a must. It has to be given from lower primary to primary, upper primary, to the high school, and even to the university. I'll give you another statistics. Out of the guys or the youth who are actually enrolled in university, maybe about 11% from the USA that they actually sponsored, you will find out that the number is decreasing when you go into higher level of education, and you start asking yourself why. Because the narrative that has been put forward in the locality here is that education is not important. And that actually is one of the tools that is being misused, I can tell you, not being used, it is misused, that the youth are illiterate, the youth are fools, the youth are not capable, they're incapable. So incapacitating them education-wise, you're actually not giving them the opportunity to lead. Thank you.
So on that mentorship point that you had just said, the area MP is doing in terms of mentoring young leaders and youth in the society. What can we say? How can we nurture these young leaders in different sectors? You know, as in the county, I think the other day I just attended the Pony Innovation Week, which is ongoing right now. There was that factor. The PS for Youth Affairs mentioned that there's going to be a mentorship program for youth. So how can that mentorship program nurture young leaders? And towards the topic for today, how can that mentorship program that will happen, how can it nurture the young leaders?
Different youth have different aspirations. Some of them, they need mentorship into leadership, and others actually into business. We need a society that is actually capable and very conversant in different aspects of the socioeconomic aspects, right? So the mentorship should not only focus on leadership. Yeah, we have some people who are having aspirations to become leaders, but there are others. Some youth, they need to become business leaders, not political leaders. Therefore, these kind of programs, I'll tell you for a fact, the Pan Innovation Week, they targeted a specific group and audience. And big applause to Chief Mentor, Mahmoud Noor, of actually coming up with that kind of innovation and that kind of crowd. And we say much awareness was not created. If you look carefully into all those photos, you will find out that the majority of Mombasa people were left out. Not because they were actually asked not to go in, but they were not even interested to participate or even to go there and attend and actually find out what Pan Innovation Week can actually offer to them. Yesterday, we saw that there was a MOU that was signed between UNICAF and Swahili Port Hub, scholarships that are going to be provided. But those limited number of opportunities will go to only those people who actually attended or know or heard about it. But such kind of awareness, is it put in the media stream, in the mainstream of social media? No. So you can see that I've given you one opportunity that was announced yesterday. There are many out of the Holy Week, and this is only one Innovation Week. We have several of them from the government and the local government. The youth are left out because of lack of awareness or not being interested. Why? Because the narrative and the notion is education will not take you anywhere. Education will not help you become a better person in the society. And 10 years from now, 15 years, 20 years from now, our fellow peers will be in that sector whereby they're not aware of their roles. They will not be included in the leadership. And this cycle, this vicious cycle, in fact, will keep on repeating until we break it. How will we break it? This is one of the ways.
On that point, I think one thing that we can say is we need effective participation by the youth in terms of the different programs and the youth-led programs that are happening in the county. And on that matter, let's touch on the side of effective participation. We want leaders to be youth, but are the youth really active in terms of participation? Are they active? I'll get back to you in a minute. Let's give this one to Haytham.
And one thing I'm sure of, I think the challenge that we are talking about is youth disengagement.
Yeah.
And if you see, this arises from a lot of challenges in the society.
Yeah.
The youth are unemployed.
Yeah.
The mode that they are in is economic survival. So most of them, to try and mold them or mentor them on leadership is difficult at the moment. Their engagement in the government that they don't have belief in is also another reason. So what we actually want to do is inspire the youth to take up these roles.
Yeah.
Because for one reason or the other, there has been a huge gap between knowledge, in a knowledge gap. And the youth don't have this information to try and come up with solutions to the community problems that they have. The advocacy level in our community is at a low rate. The youths getting into these positions will only come if they are mentored well enough. So there's a lot of challenges that the youths are facing, and they don't have that capacity to get into these roles. So now this is the time whereby we can inspire those few who have the vision. Because as a leader, again, it's only when you have a vision is when you can be called a leader. And then from now that vision comes, most of the youths are inexperienced. So they don't know how to turn a vision into a reality. So now, most of what we're talking about is mentorship and guidance. And I think that's why we're here, to mentor the next generation of young leaders. We will try to come up with leadership development programs again. Because as you can see again, we have the National Youth Council. But now ask yourself, as a young person, have you ever been associated with this body that was created by the government to advocate for the interest of the youth? The answer is no. There is about the Youth Enterprise Development Fund. The uptake, if I remember well, 31% in Mombasa. If you ask again, awareness, do they have this information? No. Are they willing to look for this information? No, because they have given up. So I think it's just about trying to spark and inspire the next generation of young leaders, and for sure we are going to have a bright future and a better plan for the youths of Mombasa.
So when we put leaders into power, and one thing that really is common in these counties in Kenya is basically if we put a leader into power, then there are going to be problems and such kind of things. And let's come back to the topic for today, youth and leadership. Are we really sure that if you give the youth the power to lead and the power to control everything in the sector of accounting, are they going to do the right thing? Are they going to do the right thing? That's the question that I want to ask. Are we sure that the youth that will lead a county or will lead a certain department, are we sure that they have the ability to lead?
You know the problems that we do always, leave alone with the youth and whoever we are electing, we don't have checks and balances. You get? Whenever you elect a leader, it is your right to understand whatever is going on, whether it's be in the parliament, whether it's going to be in the constituency. But our problem is we just leave him. After the election, we have cut the connection with these leaders.
But Bilal, on that point, we have seen several occasions where we say the same thing at the start of the campaign period. We say, let's just give him the position. And we are in a country where, at the moment, what is happening in the national government, you are well aware.
It's very true.
The campaign period, there's something that is said in the campaign period, then there's the factor of after the campaigns.
Look, what I am, especially my conversation, I want to roll it through the youth fraternity.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, if we truly want us youth to take up the spaces, and mind you, we cannot all be leaders. You understand? Yeah. We cannot be on the political arena, all of us. Yeah. We cannot be on the political, on the business sector, all of us. You get? Yeah. So we have to at least segregate ourselves. Yeah. And understand that politics plays a big role in our lives, guys. Today, all the policy making and everything is affecting our lives. You get? So if we get our own people now, the conversation has to change again. Yes, we are going to keep, we want our fellow youths who are capable, just not any youth, but who are capable for leadership. You understand that leadership is a calling. We just not elect any Tom, Dick, and Harry and put him in the place. And this is what we're having now today.
Yes.
Do you get the point?
Yeah, I get the point.
So the only thing I want to tell my brothers here that the only way we are going to have integrity, we are going to have honesty, is when we have to have MOUs properly signed. And now I like the narrative that this guy has come with. If you see his social medias, that we are going to an era where we are going to elect leaders, yes. But if they don't reach a certain percentage of what we wanted, we are going to impeach them. You see, these are the kind of things that we have to put and tell the youth that yes, we truly need the space, kweli, but now we stop now blaming people and start initiatives. Kwa sababu most of us, we have started, for a long time we've been bootlicking people. Tuko nyuma ya wanasiasa. That is very true. You get? Tuko nyuma ya wanasiasa. Now if we need to shine, we have to move out from this shadow. You get?
Yes.
And form our own. And now we have to be very honest with ourselves that yes, as much as we are not included, we need to be included. What have we done for ourselves? Ukibebwa bebeka, usijiache unalewa. You get the point, Sio? As much as we are going to blame leaders, they are not including us, we are not aware. Yes, it is their mandate to do A, B, C, D. But now, what have the youth themselves done? Sawa, Bilal, Haytham, and Lahmady. Today we are here with Shurem. So we are changing the narrative. We've come here, we've started dialogue. That moving forward now, this dialogue has kufia hapa kwa sababu we don't have money, or we don't have we are not capacitated, or we don't have access to such and such. That conversation is not stop till we get to the bottom of the problem. You understand? In the matter of going to the bottom of the problem, tutakuwa tuna setbacks. You get? Some of us tutakuwa, because some of us we've been affiliated to certain groups. You see? Sasa to break that barrier, to come in and to put up your own identity, it's not a joke. We will get like those stereotypes za wazee hawataki sisi kama vijana to rule because we hatuna wisdom, we don't have certain kind of criteria to be a leader. You get the point, Shurem? So we are here to change the narrative, and when we are changing the narratives, we keep the blames aside and see what have we done first of all as youths.
I would like to touch two very important points that has been mentioned by my colleague Haytham and Bilal, and also to put some additional remarks on whatever you mentioned. Let us look, for example, YK92. When you just Google that and you look at the youth leaders from there, it actually produced a president at the moment, YK92. Look another one, Uhuru Kenyatta in 2002. He became president. I'll give you another one. One of the most brilliant minds in Kenya. And unfortunately, we don't have him right now, Tom Mboya. Tom Mboya crafted and actually came up with a framework, economic framework, that is currently being utilized in the country. 50 years down the line. A brilliant mind in his late 20s, early 30s. I'm giving you examples of how policies can actually bring forward youth and they can actually benefit the country. I've given you three big figures who are actually known in the country. Therefore, it is possible with the right policies that will be put in place in the government in both levels, they will bring forth leaders who are actually very powerful and very influential, and actually they can lead the country. Getting into the policies. Let us look carefully in the history of the enactment of these policies. For example, the NYC, the National Youth Council. Its enactment was 2007, and it became an act in 2009. But when did it get operationalized? 2012. Now, 11 years down the line, or 10 years down the line, what was achieved? We had a 10 years devolution, that's an issue. But what can we say? Look, just analyze 10 years of policy, of youth policy, and 50 years of independence. Look at the difference. You have included, or you have come to the realization of including the youth into leadership within 10 years out of the 50 years. How do you expect to have leaders, young leaders, into that system whereby you're very young in devolution? It is time that we implement these policies and not just look at them as legal tools that are there to help us be compliant. We should actually look at them as tools to implement. Because right now, as the way it is, yes, it is our time to go forth and bring other people on board. But NYC, as we speak, is it effective? That's a relative question.
And on one other thing, in the Constitution of Kenya, Article 55 in the Bill of Rights, it says that obliges the state to take measures including affirmative action programs to ensure that the youth access relevant education and training, have opportunities to associate, and are represented. And this is the point that I want you to look at. They are represented and participate in political, social, economic, and other spheres of in the leadership department. Are we really sure that this part of the constitution is in place? Are we sure?
Unfortunately, it is in place, but the rightful implementation or its effectiveness is not actually felt on the ground. Right now, majority of my fellow youth, when you approach them with regards to matters constitution, they will actually just rub your shoulders off and they just go away. They're not even interested in being involved in terms with regards to political leadership or anything to do with legal frameworks such that, you know. So the issue is they are there, they are present, but the only people who are actually benefiting are the ones who are aware. I can tell you for a fact, majority of those who have been involved in the election, in the council, and even we have actually we have ministers, by the way, both local and national government. We have committees for youth in the assemblies, but their impact is only selective. We cannot say subjective because now it's going to create another topic, but it is only selective.
Yeah.
Because it is only, it's like they're doing a sampling test, rather than it's supposed to penetrate to the whole community. The issue we are trying to focus here is every youth has to have this knowledge. Unfortunately, they don't want the youth to have this knowledge. And when you ask why, it starts becoming very chaotic. So the issue is we are going to be very diplomatic in this, and we are going to put forward the knowledge to the youth so that they are aware of what they're supposed to know and their role in this.
Same issue. And I believe the constitution is always there to guide. But as you have said, most of us and the youth are not aware. Because you can even see when it comes to public participation, you find that those who participate are very few again, and the youths are disregarded. Not because they are not aware. These public participations are usually gazetted, but you get to find the interest and the things that they want to establish does not align with what they know. So regarding that, we can guide and mentor and try to show the way towards these laws and policies in place. Because we also have a youth representation in the county assembly, we have youth representation in the national assembly, and we should follow up and try to see what frameworks and guidelines and policies that they are trying to create and share the same with the community. Yeah.
You know why am I laughing? Huh? Because this representations, even this representation, who are they given to? Are those youth at heart or youth themselves? You get? Am I making sense, Haytham? Nani or Lahmady? Huh? This is not a joke. Who are you following when the person you are following doesn't even know the mandate of why he is there? You understand?
Yes.
Because I was affiliated to a certain party and I was very loyal. So now
that is now what we're trying to say. How can we change that? How can we make sure that we do not put such kind of people in place?
Because the system is already rotten. What we can do
now
is...
we need to change. How can we change that
yes.
system?
I'm coming there.
Yes.
Whatever now we have to do, we have to start from here, where we've started today. You know, advocacy, awareness, starting to at least identify who are these leaders that are going to, number one, hold our community accountable, because we start with the grassroots. Then we come on the constituency level. Then we go nationally, or we go county-wise. Do you get the point?
Yes.
But now, it's very important that, you know, parties, today we say that we want to form our own party. You know, some people will come, start, seducing us in such ways. You understand? Now, the only thing we have to do is, we are not fighting this. This thing has to be in mind, that we are not here to fight the system. We are here to, what do we call, to give them remedy to the system. That we are 75%. Guys, this is not a joke. What 75 is not just a number.
It means basically if all the youth are together, then they can win the president election.
We can have our president as youth, not youth at heart. Because ataonekana mtu ni mwembamba, malaki wajua mtu mwembamba, aonekana yeye bado ni kijana. Sisi mibonge ukituona hapa utaona huyu ni mzee. You get the point, eh? This is the notion that is out there. So, bana, we need youth. Sisi tumeweka 15 to 40. So make sure any youth tuchagulia has to be sound. Tena tuchague wenyewe. Has any party come to you, UDA ama even ODM ama hizo zingine, just to come and say, haya basi sasa, Lahmady, please, tuakuona wewe, you are very articulative in matters, go there. Wewe afadhali uingie upande huu. Haytham, tuakuona wewe in advocacy, you are very good. So kwa nini hapa National Assembly kidogo zuia, Senate kidogo zuia, hawezi kuja kwako? Kwa sababu you talk a lot. Wewe mjuaji, wataka kujua kuliko wao. You understand? This is the reality, boss. And this is what we have to say. This is a bitter truth, Sheikh. Umeelewa? Lahmady, sikiza, Lahmady anishika hivi, anaambia wewe tulia. Lakini no. We have to tell the truth. If atusemi leo, we are tackling the problem. And the problem is there that our youth, kazi yao ni pressure group peke yake. Umeelewa? Iwe ni pressure, mtu fulani. Pale county kuna department nje pale. Wacha nikwambie, mkubwa yoyote akitoka aambiwa bana, these are the words. Mimi siambiwi, nimeona. Kuwa bana, mkubwa akitoka aambia bana, wewe inshallah Mungu akuweke. Ukifa wewe, ukifa huozi. You get? Ukifa huozi, ukioza hunuki. So these are the kind of wale vijana wako pale. These are not employed people. It's not a joke, wajua. Sisi tuichekelea issue, lakini it's not a joke. Kama kweli ilikuwa yataka leader yoyote ambaye ilikuwa yataka, wale watu hawangekaa pale chini, ushaelewa? Na wale watu kwa uzembe wao. You get? Kwa nini sisi, okay, some of us we are not even employed. You see, but we are at least making a difference. Tumeelewana? So the youth have to, mimi huwa naletea hasira sana ili jambo, Sheikh. And you stand on the podium and tell, oh, we are ready to help. Which youth are you helping? You are not watudidimiza, Sheikh. Ndio maana watu, let me finish. Ndio maana watu wanakwenda kule, wanakwenda kujigunga na illicit groups, siju Al-Shabaab na nini. Mtu anakaa kule kwenye mitaa na nini, ndio wanatuanza kutuibia. Kwa sababu nini? The mental health is not okay. Mtu wala kibugizi. Kwani una akili? Kibugizi ni ya mwendazimu huko, lakini wala wewe.
We'll continue on that.
Do you get?
On that side, a little bit. Let's give it to Lahmady.
I'd like to add something, or actually to furnish whatever Bilal has said. When we're talking about youth and leadership, we need to select or appoint youth who are capable. all right? Youth who are actually well in their minds, sound-minded, who are worth the integrity test, all right? One thing that is quite unfortunate, not only here in Mombasa, is that the appointments of the youth are based on who loves me, or who likes me, or who supports me in social media, or who campaigned for me. We don't say you're not supposed to appoint these people, but look at the background of these people, education-wise, leadership-wise, in their traits. It is quite disheartening that the majority of the appointees or the appointments that have been made of the youth, they are incapable to lead. The only people who are there, they are just, I can tell you, these are the words that are coming from outside. Either they're office boys or flower girls, unfortunately. Why? They are leaders, they are youth leaders, but they are incapable because when you put him in front of the public arena or you put him on this desk and try to question his productivity, his efficiency, his effectiveness in the role, you will find out that that person is actually a zero dude, you know. So the issue is we are not talking about youth and leadership, just like we need to upbring the whole community to become leaders. But actually, we will select a few who are actually capable to lead by merit. And that's something very crucial. People can be mentored to be leaders, we agree, but out of a group of 10, maybe 2 only are actually capable. So it is not only the issue is the majority of the youth are unemployed, are not given opportunities, but we should also come to the point whereby do they have the right tools to lead? If they are given the right tools in this regard, are they capable to lead? I can tell you, today I can actually bring Bilal and some of these youth leaders who are actually outside here. And when you do the comparison, you will find out that Bilal outshines them. But why was Bilal not actually selected? Because of other factors. Now, these factors are supposed to be now get ridden off. But if you try to get them out of the line, now you will start facing challenges. And when you speculate where these challenges are coming from, they're coming from within. From within. So if you actually end up like some of us, they actually give up and like, okay, leave it. Some of us, they're like, no, we will fight it. And the moment you try to fight it, you're actually diminished in whatever method that you can think of. So this is why Bilal sometimes gets very furious, because it is so frustrating to see that there are people who are capable to lead. They have the right minds. They have the right visions. It is so unfortunate, I can tell you, that the way they claim that they are old men, with all due respect, we have people who have been so experienced in leadership and all, but they lack the vision. So this visionary part is what has derailed us from many opportunities, not only locally, but also internationally. Because you cannot be a joker and go outside to look for international funding or donation, and you don't have anything to present that is so valuable or worth the money that you're looking for. You're supposed to be visionary, not only in terms of your diplomacy, but also in terms of your knowledge and technology, and your science and technology. As we speak right now, can you tell me, is there any research center, a research and development center that has been established or even had gone across a mind of a leader in Mombasa? Can you? You can't. 50 years down the line, we are still thinking of beautifying our roads, of recarpeting our roads, of putting this kind of waiver or that. We have a leadership that lacks vision. And when you say this, they start sending people to you to either insult you, to either bring your ill motive personalities and all that. Why? When we are here to actually tackle matters economy, matters socioeconomics, matters business, matters leadership, so that we all can grow together and reach prosperity. Because can you imagine People just tell you, I have a vision 2030, 2035, just on the shelves, but the implementation is zero. Trust you me, manifestos are formulated from wherever, all right? But the implementation is what actually misses. Leave alone the implementation, the oversight. As we speak right now, people will try to tell you, we tried to close the loopholes of the previous regimes. We tried to remove all kind of corruption that was available, that was present, and all, right? Kudos. What's next? What is next after that? And that's the problem. When you start questioning, like, what are you going to do for us? Somebody is going to tell you, we have few projects that are coming up. Ask them, how many are they? They will list 3. Are these 3 going to be beneficial to the youth? They will tell you yes. But is it everyone? No. It is true that we should not expect the government to do everything for us, but they should put the right infrastructure for us. It is our right, by the way. Do you know that? In the Constitution, it is our right to education, our right to clean water, not only water. I can bring you water, but it's not clean. It's my right to accommodation, that is housing, to health. But is it health or quality health? So when you start asking the right questions, people close your mouth in whatever method they know. And that's the problem. Now, these kind of questions, they normally frustrate the youth. And that's why you see we end up giving up. Because there are no right policies which will support us. And the leaders in place are not supporting because they still want to maintain the power. They still want to be retained in their position of power.